What is going on, guys? I am Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today, I want to go over my I'll say my top 5 prospects for the New York Jets at pick 13. This is not in a move back scenario. This is not in a trade up scenario. This is just assuming the Jets are staying at pick 13. These would be the 5 guys in order that I would target. So, like, if all are available, they aren't going to be, more than likely. This is the order that I would go with. There's a decent chance that all these guys could be there at 13. Not at the same time, just kind of depending on the order in which players are drafted, but it's going to be what I would do. We'll get things started with 2 guys who I have seen mocked to the Jets, but I don't think are going to actually get drafted by the Jets. So they're, I guess, honorable mentions, or just I'll explain why they don't make the top 5. The first is Nolan Smith, the edge rusher. He is an incredible athlete. He is so much of an outlier at his size. He's small, really small. So I don't see the Jets spending a top 15 pick on this guy. I think he goes in the back half of the first round, and there are teams who can take swings on a guy who is a boomer bust. He's an extremely boomer bust prospect because of his size. His athleticism is off the charts. I am not willing to take that risk in the top 15. I don't think the Jets do it either. The other is at a position of need. I just don't necessarily see the fit for the Jets, and I'll explain, I guess, is Brian Branch, the safety from Alabama, who many are saying is the best safety in this class. He has very limited snaps at free safety. He's played a majority of his collegiate career. He played in the slot. He has played in the box a little bit, so I don't see that as a fit. That, again, would be very redundant to what the Jets already have at the safety position with Chuck Clark and Jordan Whitehead. And you could say, is he a better prospect than both those guys and could potentially be a better long-term option? Yes, of course, but the point of this draft, I think specifically in 2023, right? You open up this window to really go for it. I think you need guys who can have an immediate impact on your team at pick 13, and not someone who is either a number one, a project, or something that is already what you have on the roster. And I guess that'll get us into this. Okay, so we'll work our way from 5 all the way up to number 1. So coming in at number 5, my number 5 target is Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver from Ohio State. He is 6 foot, 196 pounds. He is 21 years old. He ran a 4.52 40-yard dash. He had a monster, and I mean monster, 2021 season. Keep in mind, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave were still there at Ohio State in 2021, and he still put up 1,600 yards and 9 touchdowns. Now in 2022, he only played 3 games. He had a hamstring injury this year, so really did not have a ton of game action this year, which is why he's not like a consensus top 10 pick if he played. I think he's absolutely going in the top 10. To me, he's still the number 1 wide receiver on the board. And spoiler, he's the only wide receiver that I would even consider for the New York Jets in the first round. I don't love the idea of going wide receiver in round 1 because I think offensive line's a bigger need. And we'll talk about other people who I have on this list on the offensive line as they move, as we move this thing further along. But also, just speaking on Jackson Smith and why he's, really enticing player is, he has great athleticism, phenomenal athleticism, really nice hands, is a quarterback's best friend, which is, again, something that you like. Easy guy. He has a little bit of a deep threat in him too, but he's played most of his career in college in the slot. So there's some questions on whether or not he can move outside. I think he could. I think he's good enough to move around, but him being strictly slot is something that some people worry about. I personally don't, but it's something that some people worry about. Again, he's my wide receiver 1. I'd be excited because I mean Jackson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Mecole Hardman. That's a really explosive wide receiver unit. I'd be a little concerned who's blocking for Aaron Rodgers and these guys, but man, he would absolutely be fun to add to this wide receiver room. Okay, number 4 on the list is Kalijaun Canty, interior defensive lineman from Pittsburgh, 6'1", 281. He's 22 years old. He ran a 4.67 40-yard dash, which is fantastic at that size. Like that, just incredible speed, incredible athleticism. He had 44 pressures coming from the inside, 7.5 sacks, 14.5 tackles for a loss in 2022. He gets the comp to Aaron Donald, which I don't think is fair because Aaron Donald is maybe one of the top 2 defensive players I've ever seen play in the NFL. Like, he is just an absolute freak, but has similar size. He's coming out of Pittsburgh. The natural comp for him is going to be Aaron Donald. And while I think that is incredibly, incredibly lofty expectations for the guy, I think he can be a very, 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 very good pass rusher on the interior. Now, again, like I said, it's not really fair to compare anyone to Aaron Donald, but his athletic profile on the inside from a rushing standpoint makes a ton of sense for something that Robert Saleh likes. He has a massive, massive burst up the middle and would cause so many problems for the interior of offensive lines with him and Quinnen Williams together. Now, he's not great against the run because of his size, and some would say that 13 might be too early for him. I don't think so, honestly. If Kalijaun Canty is someone who you'd say, oh, you can move back and get him, not far, not very far at all. I absolutely think he is a top 20 pick, and I don't think it's a guarantee that he makes it much further back from pick number 13. Again, defensive tackle is barren. Outside of Quinnen Williams, the only other guy you really have is Solomon Thomas. I guess Tanzel Smart maybe plays a little bit of a bigger role this year. They love JFM on the outside, so don't tell me they're just going to kick JFM inside and everything's going to be okay. They'll maybe kick him in pass rushing situations, but I love Kalijaun Canty. I think he is absolutely on the table for the Jets. Okay, number 3, here comes the run on offensive tackles. Broderick Jones is my number 3 offensive tackle in this draft class and my number 3 option for the New York Jets at pick number 13. He's from Georgia, 6'5", 311, 22 years old. He is a really, really good athlete, strong and fast. He can use work on his technique, and a big reason for that is because he hasn't played a ton of football yet. He got started much later in life and then goes to Georgia, but is just a freak athlete. He's much better in pass pro than he is as a run blocker. So maybe that's a detractor for Robert Saleh and just the offense that they're going to want to run. But with just 5 pressures allowed and no hits or no sacks playing in the SEC, that is incredible. He's absolutely a top 15 pick. And if the other 2 offensive tackle, my 2 favorite offensive tackles, if they're off the board, I am more than okay with going with Broderick Jones. I really, really like him. I think he is a specimen. He could use work on his technique. That's fixable, but man, is he just a mauler with that size and athleticism. I love him. At number 2 on this list is Peter Skovronski from Northwestern. He's an offensive tackle, 6'4", 313. He's 22 years old. Phenomenal athlete, good leader, really good technique. His one detractor is his size. Some think that he would have to move to guard at the next level. He is really, I think a good comp for him is AVT. And the Jets played AVT outside last year at both left tackle and right tackle, and he was fine. He was good. But some people say, oh, Skovronski, he's going to have to move inside. For me, just draft really good offensive linemen and figure out where to put your best 5. To me, I think he can play on the outside. If they do have to move him to guard, so be it. Have AVT play offensive tackle then, if that's really what you have to do. But only allowed 1 sack, 6 pressures. He started all 3 years at Northwestern. Again, to me, that is just a quality prospect on the offensive line. And I think it's a no-brainer. If he was there for the Jets and they took him, I would be thrilled. And coming in at number 1, my most preferred option for the New York Jets at pick number 13 is Paris Johnson from Ohio State, 6'6", 313. He's 22 years old. He's extremely impressive physically, great athleticism. Man, could he move in space. You absolutely love it. He is an insane run blocker, insane, elite level run blocker. His pass protection is fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. I would say Jones and Skovronski at this point are probably slightly better pass protectors, but what he makes up at run blocking to me makes him offensive tackle 1. You plug him in, I think he would be great from day one. Now, he also has some versatility because he played and started in 2021 at right. Oh, no. Yes. I'm sorry. Forgive me. In 2021 at right guard. And then in 2022, he moved to left tackle and was great. He's able to play inside, outside. He's versatile. Just 1 sack, 10 pressures allowed, which is a little bit higher than the other 2. Again, he's not a bad pass protector. He's just not an elite level pass protector, but he's an elite level run blocker. And, for the Jets system in a West Coast theme, getting him out in space in the wide zone rushing scheme, oh my God, that would be a dream. If he's fine and Makai's healthy on the right, wow. Absolutely, just all you can say is wow, what they could be able to do in the run game. I think they would be absolutely dominant. So those are my top 5 prospects for the New York Jets at 13. Let me know yours down below. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time.